right field, hit deep. Whitefield going back at the track, over his head and over the wall. Do you believe that?
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Ramirez with a drive to deep right, away back, goal!
Go Hayes hits a bomb out there by the Rocks. And boy, oh boy, this third inning is now showtime.
It is a Judgian blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to spin rates to game-changing moments. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us next from the town, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to A's Cast Live. Yes, this has been arguably one of the most wild weeks we have ever had doing this show. And we got a great show for you today. Eno Sarris, national baseball columnist for The Athletic, now a contributor here on A's Cast Live and A's Cast as we continue to grow for you, the A's and baseball fans. With Eno, we get into A's, we get into everything baseball. That's what this show's about. It's about the A's, it's about baseball. That's what we do. Eno Sarris at 2:30. Jessica Kleinschmidt, how do we describe Jessica? She's our reporter. She's a social media guru. She's an everything player for us for the Oakland Athletics. She's going to be here at 3 o'clock. And then at 3:30, it's going to be the skipper, the Mark Kotze show. It's a Friday. That's when we get Mark Kotze. And we'll have him from Houston. And I can tell you, today at 3:30, you're going to love what you have to hear about Dermis Garcia. A big breakdown on Dermis. And I got a lot of info on him. And we're going to talk a lot because he's a player that intrigues me. Really, really, really intrigues me and should intrigue you. Now, you might be saying as you watch this, Townie, you got that great background and you got the NBC shirt on. Where are you? Well, yesterday we were in Oakland because my internet was out. The day before, show got canceled because my internet was out. We've had a wild 3 days here with A's Cast Live. There's no question about it. And with the commander on his honeymoon and the Karate Kid Ray stepping in, Ray, this was supposed to be smooth sailing. It's the end of the year. We're on cruise control. I'm here at NBC today. Brody Brazil's coming in. He's going to be wearing jeans on the show. I mean, we're in cruise control, baby. Like, I wasn't supposed to be here today. I'm supposed to be at home. I'm supposed to be here tomorrow hosting for Brody, doing A's pre- and post-game live, but I got called last night. Hey, can you come in? I'm just not going to be here today. I'm not the host. I'm the analyst again. I'm having to play the former player. And I can tell you about my great background when I pitched in Major League Baseball today on television. Ray, it's been wild. And you know what? Thank you for bobbing, weaving, and getting through all of this. And this is what we have to do in our business as a lot of things change on a day-to-day basis. So I know it was supposed to be cruise control for you. Unfortunately, it's probably been one of the weirdest patches we've ever had.
Yeah, weird, I think, might be an understatement. But yeah, as you said, you have to roll with the punches sometimes, and I'm rolling with them the best I can.
That's the bottom line. We move on. Nothing can stop. The only thing that can stop A's Cast Live, nothing can stop A's Cast. A's Cast will always run. The only thing that can stop A's Cast Live is power and internet. Other than that, nothing can stop us. And if we would have had the MiFi, we would have been able to do the show, but Cody has it at his apartment, and he's in Iceland, so there's nothing we can do with that. So technically, in the future, the only thing that can stop us is power. But the thing is, if you have no power, they're not going to play the game anyway. So there you go. On the mound today, Adrian Martinez. Game plan today for Adrian Martinez is simply this, and what we need to see from him. And it's what we saw when the A's beat and took down either the Yankees, Orioles. Adrian Martinez has to be that guy that has that pinpoint control. Even though velocity, he can get you 94, 95. But the key for Adrian Martinez is he's got to hit his spots. And I don't want to make it sound like it's like some super generic thing. Right? He's got to hit his spots. He's got to hit, and what you should watch tonight to know how is he doing is watch to see where the catcher sets up and does he hit the glove. That's what we need to see. Does he hit the glove? And how well his changeup is the pitch that really does it for me. It's kind of what we're starting to see also with Ken Waldichuk. Is you got fastball, you got breaking ball, but if his changeup, if he has the feel for it, which Waldichuk has not had, he's kind of lost it a little bit. If Martinez has it, he's going to have an opportunity to compete tonight. But that's the thing to watch, the game plan to watch. When you're watching this game, if you're listening to it on A's Cast and the A's Radio Network, sorry, but if you're watching it, look to see, and I just had the lineup up. I haven't written it in my scoreboard. Sean Murphy, where Murph sets up. Where he sets up, if he's low and outside, if he's low and inside, as Martinez is not a guy that pitches up in the zone, but even if he wants it up in the zone, so many pitchers now want four-seam up so guys can't get on top and launch it. But wherever he sets up, where's the ball going? So we don't need anything fancy. We don't need to go to vertical, horizontal, spin rates, none of that. You can stay off Baseball Savant tonight. It's Friday night. All you need to watch is where does Murph set up and is he hitting the glove? If he is, he's got a shot. If he's not, going to that bullpen that's burnt. And it's going to be a bullpen game because I can sit here and I can read you these incredible numbers of this guy who's going tonight named Justin Bertlander. The numbers, you know the numbers. Mark Kotze, you know what's interesting about the Mark Kotze show today is that normally when we're talking Verlander in playoffs, we're talking about Verlander in 12 and 13. And you forget a very baby-faced Justin Verlander shoved against the A's in 06. And when Kotze said to us earlier today from Houston that, I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, Justin Verlander has tormented the A's for years. And it's just not what we remember back in 2013 and 2012 when he broke the Athletics' hearts. Now, he actually, looking back, he wasn't that great against the A's in 2006. 5 1/3, gave up 4 runs, struck out 6. But you saw then this kid's dynamic. Now, 12 and 13, he was unbelievable. So the Astros in this game, they're looking to become the first American League team to clinch a playoff spot with a victory tonight or a loss by the Orioles in Toronto. The magic number to win the West is 6. Verlander leads the American League, a minimum of 100 innings pitched, 16 wins. You guys don't care about that anymore. I do. ERA 1.84. Can we at least say 1.84 is still pretty good? And OPS, hit the opponent he's up against, all these other teams he pitched against, you combine their OPS against him, it's just 512. He's 39 years old, folks, and he's absolutely dominating, looking to get his 3rd Cy Young Award. His last 11 starts, he's 8-0 with a 1.29 ERA. And then bad calf onto the IL. And you got, for them, they're thinking about playoffs, which is, you're not going to take, you got to lead like they got. You're not going to, in any way, screw it up and hurt Justin Verlander. You're going to be very, very cautious. But 8-0 with a 1.29 ERA his last 11 starts. How about his career against the A's? Full career, Detroit, Houston. He's 9-7. And think about the one game the A's got him earlier this year where he had the no-hitter going at the Coliseum. But in his career, 9-7, a 2.33, 31 career starts, and that includes the postseason. Ray, is that any good? 9-7 with a 2.33 in a career that has spanned 17 years.
I'd say that's pretty good. I don't even know if we can put that in the good, non-elite territory. That's just elite.
He didn't get the loss in that game that he had the no-hitter and we came back on him. But this year, 1-0, 2.08 ERA and 2 starts against the A's. Man, some guys who have struggled in their careers. Ramon just 2 for 12. Voter, I believe in Stephen Vogt, 1 for 14. Now, I don't believe we're going to see Verlander that long. This is not coming off. They're long-term thinking, right? We're on so early. Dusty Baker hasn't talked to the media yet. I doubt we're going to see Verlander for that long. That's why this will be a battle of the bullpens, which it will be. Adrian Martinez will not go long in this game. Verlander, maybe 6. I mean, that's a short outing for him, 6. If the A's can get his pitching matchup, if they can get his pitch count up, maybe get him out in 5. But this will be one that's about the bullpen, which they have no problem with because their bullpen pretty darn good. Houston has won 17 of their last 22, outscoring their opponents 92-54. They're rolling. They're absolutely rolling. And to watch this 3 more games, just to see it, I think it's great for our young players. For the guys that I can't tell you who's going to be here in spring training. I can't. But whoever is in that dugout today, watching this, kind of like when the A's were good and beating the crap out of the Astros, and the young Astros got to sit there and look at the A's. Same thing. This is who you want to be like. This is how you want to win. Because the Astros win every way possible. They've got everything. They should be a model. Dodgers are a model. Yeah, they hit a bunch of home runs, but they don't have to hit home runs to beat you. They can slug with you. They can hit with you. They can run. They're athletic. They play defense. They got starters. They got bullpen. They beat you in so many different ways, which that was always the A's problem. How did we beat you? We outslugged you. What happens if you don't slug? Bye-bye. You're not moving on in the postseason. And that's why I've said it's been the Yankees' Achilles. It's hitting them again. Aaron Judge hits, no one else hits. They're in trouble. Pitching isn't as good. They're in trouble. Why do the Dodgers keep bringing guys up? They just keep bringing guys up. Walker Buehler's out. Oh, don't worry. Here comes another guy. Here comes another guy. They just keep bringing guys up, and they keep winning games because they got depth, and they can beat you in a lot of different ways. Dodgers do not have to hit home runs to beat you. They've been wiping San Diego, San Francisco, Arizona. They've been wiping these guys all year long, and they don't have to hit home runs. Even though they do, they don't have to. They were able to have Justin Turner and Max Muncy not do anything. And then all of a sudden, now they've gotten hot, and it's like, Jesus, now everybody's hot. And we got to get into San Diego, by the way. Our old buddy, Bob Melvin. Uh-oh. I can't, that's one thing I'm going to address with Eno Saris today. I seemed like a hater with Juan Soto. And maybe just because I want to be that guy, I kind of want to be that troll to go against all you guys that you view the game different than I do. So I want to tell you when you're wrong. I love doing that. Juan Soto was a gift from God. God touched this player, this greatness of Juan Soto. We haven't seen anything like this since Ted Williams. He's a gift. He's the most gifted thing. He was called the best offensive player in the game. He basically, I'm getting news of why my Comrex array is not working from Michael Baird. May make sense. Once again, it's been a wild couple days, and technology is technology. They said he's the next $500 million player. He turned down 400 and something million. Then the Nationals went back with another offer, and he and Scott Boras turned that down. Oh, my God, what this kid's worth. But no one ever said, well, he's average defensively at best. Can't run. He's 23. By the way, he's had 1 year of real power. Yeah, he's only 23. It's amazing. But he walks a lot. Has anybody seen the numbers? Has anybody, this guy that, and I said it, I said, listen, his English has gotten way better, pretty decent interview, but I'm like, how's this guy worth $500 million? Like, what's your return on investment on this guy? Like, what is he going to do that makes him worth $500 million? Half a bill. Because he walks a lot? That's worth $500 million. All right, generational player. They're putting, got to put his plaque in Cooperstown now because Juan Soto is there. I can't wait for Eno Saris to come in and start making excuses. Oh, he's a streaky player. It was a coup by the Padres to get this guy. He's Ted Williams. Well, this generational player, this gift from God that God has given us from the heavens to play baseball, walked out of the clubhouse last night, wouldn't talk to the media after another 0 for 4. There's your $500 million player. To a guy like Derek Jeter didn't get $500 million. Talked to the media after every game, owned everything, good, bad, ugly, stand-up guy, franchise leader. This 23-year-old who turned down $400 and something million because he's too good for that, can't even stand up for when he's 0 for 4 after another shutout loss for the Padres. He's hitless in his last 12 at-bats, and 3 for his last 48. Ray, you want to do the math on that? 3 for his last 48? I got it for you if you don't want to. How fast can you do it?
Good question. Math was never my strong suit.
0.063. $500 million, huh? For a average at best outfielder who can't run, and he's 23, so that means defense isn't going to get better, and he's not going to get faster as he gets older, and he's batting .063 over his last 15 games with a whopping 1 RBI. Oh, that's right. Batting average doesn't matter. RBIs don't matter. Well, let me tell you something. All those things that you love, weighted runs created plus, it ain't doing anything for the Padres now. You want to know what his OPS is since he got traded? 35 games. 35 games. The savior, the gift from God. 35 games. He's got a 694 OPS. And the only reason it's 694 is because he walks. He's hit nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I go back. Cody's lucky he's on vacation and he's on his honeymoon. Because I was like, I'm not seeing why this guy, you guys make this guy out to be you're comparing him to Ted Williams. I can look at his numbers and show you he does not compare to Ted Williams at all. He doesn't have the power. He doesn't have the extra base hits. He walks a lot. Okay. He doesn't have the slug. He doesn't have the doubles. Ted Williams is hitting 3. They're both 20. Look it up quick, Ray. I'm going to do Ted Williams. You do Juan Soto. I want to say Juan Soto's 23. Let's look to see when Teddy Ballgame was 23. All right. I got Ted Williams at 23 years old. Is Juan Soto 23?
Let's see. He is 23. You got it.
Ted Williams at 23 years old. I'm giving you, Soto gets traded to the Padres. He's hitting, for his time with the Padres, he's hitting 202. 202. He's not even hitting his weight. He's got a 694 OPS, 7 RBIs in 35 games. Ted Williams at the age of 23 hit 356, 36 home runs, 137 RBIs, led all of baseball in home runs, RBIs, and he scored 141 runs, and he walked 145 times, and he had a 1,147 OPS, and his OPS plus was 216. That was Ted Williams at 23. Juan Soto at 23 is a dud. Ted Williams led Major League Baseball at the same age Juan Soto. So whatever you could say, well, Juan Soto, Ray, you're texting me. What are you texting me about?
Just on your equipment. We can work on it later.
Well, just tell me. It's all right. Is something wrong?
Just make sure the images I sent match your board.
Yeah, they do.
All right. Perfect.
Why? Was anything wrong?
Your voice is overpowering, as it usually is.
Okay, I just got to turn down the board. How's that?
Better?
No, it's all right. See what's great about this show? We can do these types of things. So if I'm overpowering, you just tell me, turn it down. Because, yes, things can, when you travel equipment, things can change. Is that better?
Much better.
Much better? Was I peaking?
You were peaking. During the peak of your Juan Soto rant, you were peaking.
Okay. So you had Ted Williams lead all of baseball. So you could say, well, Juan Soto's facing different pitching. Okay. I get it. So Juan Soto doesn't have to have these numbers, but shouldn't Juan Soto be, I'm not saying that the numbers have to be equal, but shouldn't Juan Soto be leading in all these categories? Maybe not the same numbers, but leading all these categories? Because Ted led in, I'm not even going to give you the numbers now. I'm just going to tell you the categories Ted Williams led baseball at 23 years old. He led runs scored, home runs, RBIs, walks, batting average, on base, slugging, OPS, OPS plus, and total bases. You still want to compare Juan Soto to Ted Williams? And what he's doing? I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Padres do get in. They hold off the Brewers, and Juan Soto goes nuts. But I was told this guy, generational player. 23 years old, turned down 400. I mean, a lot goes on in life. And this is what the metrics people don't tell you, right? Juan Soto, his life turned down this money. I mean, you don't think that weighs on a player that I turned down over $400 million? And now I get traded to a different town, a different fan base. Now wait for it. What nobody likes to bring up is that word expectations. It's amazing when you have expectations. It's amazing when you now become the hired gun. See, when you get signed by the Nationals and you come up through the national system and they baby a player, and this is all organizations, and you baby your player, and he gets there and he's comfortable and he thrives. He's your guy. You love him, he loves you. But all of a sudden you get traded or you sign as a free agent, all people see is dollar signs. And there's expectations. Like when Justin Verlander got traded from Detroit to Houston, guess what? Expectations for this guy to come in and win. Yeah, you don't care about wins? Well, when you trade for Justin Verlander, you expect to win when he is on the mound. You don't expect 5 and dive and go, well, he struck out 10 and 5. That was a good start. No, you expect to win when you trade for Justin Verlander. Go back and watch these, the captain on Derek Jeter on ESPN, the 30 for 30. Go look. When the Yankees traded or when anybody traded for David Cone, they expected winning. When the Yankees traded for Roger Clemens from Toronto, they expected winning. When you bring in a hitter like this, you expect bombs, production every night when you make those types of trades. So all of a sudden, when we always want to say it's never a baseball player's fault, it's not his fault. Losing's not his fault. Look what he did. It's not his fault the team loses. Well, what's this? He was brought in to enhance an offense that needed offense. And what's happened? He's an absolute dud. The expectations. See, that's something they don't want to tell you in the world of analytics. What's the analytic for expectations? What's the analytic for pressure? What's the analytic for having the entire franchise on your back? What's that analytic? Never heard of it. Maybe we'll find out next because Eno Saris is going to join us. Very interesting. Sandy Alderson is going to be stepping down in New York. It was just last year, there was a chance Billy Beane and Bob Melvin were going to go to New York. Fell apart. Billy Beane, his contract ends at the end of this baseball season. I don't know the exact timing of it. Could now be the chance that Billy Beane goes back to New York. That, Verlander, Dermis Garcia, his start for the A's, we got a lot to talk about with our national baseball columnist, Eno Saris, next from The Athletic, right here on A's Cast Live.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
The Eno Saris Show is sponsored by Fieldwork Brewing Company. With 8 taproom locations in Northern California, Fieldwork brings you fresh craft beer direct from the source. Fieldwork will also ship beer direct to your door if you live in California. Visit fieldworkbrewing.com.
Hey A's fans, check out Longport Fish Company, an exciting new chef-driven seafood restaurant located in the Veranda Shopping Center in Concord. Longport features the highest quality lobsters, oysters, king salmon, flavorful cioppino, and much, much more. It features a full bar of craft cocktails, local brews, and a curated wine list. Longport Fish Company is for all occasions too. Date night, business meetings, catching an A's game at the bar, or bringing the whole family. Check us out at longportfc.com, on Yelp, and on all social media.
Humanity has accomplished a whole lot so far. We created penicillin, the automobile, and the internet, not to mention drones, duct tape, and the hot dog. It's all thanks to the power of human connections. And Ring Central's here to make that even easier, more seamlessly and securely, on a platform built to grow your business. Say hello to a whole new way to say hello. Visit ringcentral.com and say hello to possibilities. Ring Central. Message, video, phone, together.
Some things just go together. Peanut butter and jelly, cookies and milk, Oakland and Kaiser Permanente. If that last one caught you off guard, it shouldn't, because Kaiser Permanente has been helping keep Oakland healthy since our very beginning. And as the official healthcare partner of the Oakland A's, that won't be changing anytime soon. Whatever you may need, you can trust Kaiser Permanente to help keep you feeling your best. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive. Visit kp.org today.
Coming in at 5'3", it's #1 mom, She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka! Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game times, schedules, and more.
Join the A's and celebrate the Bay. Your Oakland Athletics kick off a 3-game set against the Mets Friday, September 23rd with a special post-game fireworks show featuring the Bay Area's best hits.
Rose, and it's swung and hit to right field, deep in the corner, and that's going to be gone, and it's back to back to back.
Savor the last moments of summer and take yourself out to the ballpark for a must-see fireworks show presented by Delta Dental. Tickets start at just $15. Secure your seats at athletics.com today.
When Northern California businesses need some pop in their lineup, they call the bank rooted in the East Bay. Mechanics Bank. Since 1905, Mechanics Bank has been helping Bay Area and Northern California businesses find success and perform at the top of their game. See how they can make a difference in your business today. Call or stop by your local branch or visit mechanicsbank.com. Mechanics Bank, the official East Bay bank of the Oakland A's. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
Welcome to A's Cast Live, doing it from the city. Later on today here on NBC Sports California, I'll be a part of the show with Brody Brazil. So we got the cool green screen. I guess it's not a green screen, but we got the cool screen behind us. It is A's Cast Live. Are we ready to play the Open for our national baseball columnist, Ray?
I believe we are.
Let's do it.
The Eno Sarah Show is sponsored by Fieldwork Brewing Company. With 8 taproom locations in Northern California, Fieldwork brings you fresh craft beer direct from the source. Fieldwork will also ship beer direct to your door if you live in California. Visit fieldworkbrewing.com.
Awesome. What's up, Eno? How are you?
Doing good, doing good.
You know, tonight, really interesting. You know, you look at these numbers, Verlander, and we, played 17 years in the American League. His dominance over the A's is unbelievable, but then I'm sure it's like this. I can't imagine what all of his numbers are like against these teams in the Central. And at 39 years old, and as they say after Tommy John, he's got a new arm. It truly is amazing. I'm not expecting a lot tonight out of him coming off the IL, but just when you look at the numbers, they're mind-blowing how good he has been.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of how he is in the game because, sometimes he'll sit 94, sit 95, and then in the 7th inning throw 99. He's kind of doing that in his career, right? Like you thought, okay, he's declining. He's like, nope. Here's 99 in the 7th inning, quote unquote, of my career, basically. So, it's just amazing how much he's had in the tank.
Yeah, he said earlier this year that he's finally able to truly let it go, and that's allowed him to get back to 98, 99. I remember it was a game at Yankee Stadium. I saw that and went, wow, man, he's throwing that hard again. That's unbelievable. And he's got that quest. He's got that Tom Brady in him that he just wants to keep playing. You think he'll get to 300? Because he will be the last guy we'll ever see do that.
Yeah, we're not even training pitchers anymore to do that. So, whether or not he does it, I don't know. He needs, how much does he need actually?
He's at 240. I checked it. 242, I think it is.
242.
Yeah.
I kind of doubt it. The way things go now, they take people out early. People get like 13 to 15 wins. I mean, he'd have to have like 5 more seasons in him, I feel like.
Well, and I'm just wondering, and I hate it, but we have to adapt, right? As Moneyball taught us, Brad Pitt Moneyball, adapt or die. Do we now need to start looking at these outings? And Spencer Strider may be a great example, where we've always thought about having all these multiple pitches and everything. Well, you're not going 7-8 innings anymore, right? Well, if I'm only going to have you out there for 5 innings, it's almost like I need you to throw like you're an extended closer. What are your 2 best pitchers? 2 best pitches? Go out there and attack. I saw Cap do that last night. Caprillion was basically fastball slider. He's not going deep in the game. Is that kind of where we're going, or how we should start? If this is, we're not going to allow guys to go deep, train them to be more like, you're just like a closer. Don't worry about 4 pitches. Give me your best 2 and let's go.
That's exactly what I talked to Spencer Strider about when he was in town last week. And, I had some skepticism. I sense it in your voice, I had some skepticism because there is research out there that says that the more pitches you have, or every additional pitch you have, the softer your third time through the order penalty is. So basically, even if it's not a great pitch, having another pitch makes you more likely to be able to turn the lineup over and go deeper in the games. Well, as you say, what if that's not even a concern? The average pitcher now, the basically starting pitchers get 4.5 to 5 innings. So if you're not even really concerned with turning it over a third time and getting to that 6th and 7th inning, then you don't need to worry about it so much. And Strider basically espoused mostly the idea that I've heard from other pitching coaches too, which is just use your best pitches. Pitchers say, I don't want to be beat on my 3rd best pitch or my 4th best pitch. And so he just designed his 2 pitches to be as nasty as possible, and he doesn't really want to throw his other pitches. So I think you're right that it has something to do with only going 5.
It's like anything else in sports. You got what you do well. And if I got a pitch that's really good and the guy didn't hit it the first 2 times, why do you think he's going to hit it a 3rd time?
Yeah.
I mean, if this is my best pitch, if this is what I do, I think about now where I am playing golf. Whenever I try and get away from what I do best, I don't do as well. It's like, do what you do well and compete with what you got.
I think it's hard to do it if you don't have some command. Because if you don't have command and you're just throwing 2 pitches, they can keyhole you and just be like, okay, I'm going to wait for a fastball in this area. He doesn't really want to throw it in that area, but he's going to make a mistake. The thing that convinced me that Strider can maybe do it is he says, if they start sitting on high and hard and they were just waiting on my fastball high, all I have to do is start, hit the low in the zone with a fastball a couple times. Now they have to protect high and low. And so if you have the command to be able to do that, that's great. But if some of these guys like closers, for example, don't often have that command. So that might be the difference between a closer that can go 1 inning and a closer that can go 5, like Strider, is some semblance of command.
All right, I'm not going to bust out my X-Files conspiracy music, but you threw it out there. Spin rates are back, baby. Let's go. We're checking guys' hands. I've seen we got guys' hair being checked. I mean, everybody's getting checked. I mean, what do we got to do? Swabs in the mouth now? I mean, are we back? Do we got substances going again on the ball? What's happening?
Yeah, if you look at league-wide spin rates, they're back to basically about where they were before the enforcement began. It's not quite there. So I think we did get rid of spider tack. Spider tack, I don't know if you ever touch it. You touch pine tar. So if you touch, pine tar is not something you can get off your hands in time to see the umpire. You know what I mean? Pine tar is one of those things you're like,
it doesn't come off.
It doesn't come off. You got to go really do something.
It doesn't come off your clothes. That's the one thing. Like whenever you see batters, like Justin Turner always has that pine tar on the back of his jersey, right? Well, if you're like a college player or high school player, that stains and doesn't go away. The big leagues, they bleach the hell out of it and they clean it every night. So yeah, you're right. Pine tar does not come off your clothes, your hands. It doesn't.
Yeah, so if you look at the highest spin rate seasons since they started tracking it, this year's highest is 50th highest of all time. So that sounds like that's not that high. The second one is 175th. So basically, we've cut the very top off. However, what we have seen is the spin rates creeping back up, and they're almost back to where they were before. And so I think what we're seeing is hair gel, bullfrog, sunscreen with the rosin. But I also think maybe a little bit more than that, because when we did the studies, bullfrog was worth about 100 RPM and Spider Tack was worth about 500 RPM. And the league is getting pretty close to where it was when people were using Spider Tack. So I think there's probably some stuff beyond that. I had hitting coaches tell me about using baby oil or hand sanitizer on the pants so that you could use something kind of sticky and clear and then wipe it off on using the substance on your pants as kind of a way to wipe it off. And so if that's the case, then, putting somebody in the dugout to try and catch them is not going to work, because they've already wiped their pants on, they've already done whatever they're going to do on their pants and they've gotten it off. And so you're not going to catch them in the dugout. And, I think that baseball's in a really tough spot because they, I had a league source tell me they're watching this vigilantly. So they care about this, right? There's strikeouts in there to get rid of, right? If you get rid of sticky stuff, you get rid of some strikeouts, and they're trying to get rid of strikeouts. The problem is, I think that the only thing that's left, because you're not allowed to enforce after the fact. You can't use video after the fact and say, oh, yesterday this guy did this, busted. You can't test balls after they've come off the field and the next day suspend them. It's just not how baseball works. It needs to start with the umpire. The umpire needs to catch you, and that's how enforcement starts. And so the only thing that anyone's ever said that maybe could stop this is a fifth umpire standing behind the pitcher who can stop them between touching whatever they touch and before they throw the pitch. And I just don't know if baseball has a stomach for that.
Well, they don't need an umpire. They need one of those teachers. Remember, everybody had one of those teachers
scared you straight.
Has like a ruler, and as soon as the pitcher starts, you whack him with the ruler. That's what baseball needs. And you can steal that from me. Write that in The Athletic.
Yeah, another thing I don't think baseball will do.
I mean, where are we at? Baby oil? I mean, where are we? I mean, seriously.
No, but that's the history of baseball, man. It's the history of baseball and the history of cheating are one story.
I guess there's really nothing yet. I mean, if we've gotten to a point where you're using substances that umpires can't look at your hands.
Well, they put their fingers through his hair, and he's a guy where the spin rates have come back. Like, he had a big tumble after enforcement and the spin rates came back. So there's a legitimate reason to wonder if he's doing something. He's touching his hair every time before he goes to the rosin. It really looks like he's got something in his hair. Umpire touches his hair. What's he going to say? He has more hair gel in here than usual.
Yeah, you're going to suspend a guy?
Yeah, right.
For too much. His hair is too moist.
What kind of hair gel is this?
Brandon Crawford wouldn't have a career if we were doing that.
In fact, it's kind of funny. I think more and more pitchers are looking like Brandon Crawford.
You're always like, wait a minute, it's dry out. Why is his hair so wet? It's beautiful. I mean, it is beautiful, but reports out of New York, Sandy Alderson stepping down. It immediately makes you think, and I know some people put it out there already, but we know last year, and I know that there was a deal in place for Billy Beane and Bob Melvin to go to New York, and then Beane backed out, and then there was still negotiations going on, Melvin to New York. Then the Padres came in, huge deal. Melvin didn't want to go back to New York, even though he lived there for a while. And just the idea of going to San Diego with all that talent and the money, Bob took that route. So this has been just not even a year ago, some negotiations. Beane's contract's up after this season. You going to be shocked if Billy Beane ends up back in New York where he started his career as a player?
That wouldn't be shocking to me. I don't know if I expect it. This role, the way it's been described as a president, team president, and not super involved in the baseball operations. And, honestly, maybe that is something that appeals to Billy.
Yeah.
He hasn't been a guy who has been as hands-on. I think Force has been doing more of the sort of baseball stuff. So maybe that is something that appeals to him. But there's always been the rumor that Billy would go to soccer next. And the other rumor that's really attached to the Mets constantly is David Stearns out of Milwaukee. So it's a prime job. It's one of those jewel sort of jobs, and it has an owner that spends a lot of money. That's got to be somewhat appealing to Billy, to try something different. So it wouldn't surprise me, but I don't expect it.
Yeah, Billy's at a point in his life. He's not going to be a baseball lifer. He has said that on this show many times. So what interested him last time around, which would have been last year, and maybe now, especially now, is that it's a job about winning today. It's about winning next year and the year after. It's not something where you're now starting a 5-year rebuild, let's say. It's not Baltimore. You're going in, you could win, then you could go to soccer.
Right. Of course, whatever the stadium, team situation is, if he's reading the tea leaves and thinks the A's are going to move or something, maybe he makes this move to get out in front of that. So, he knows more than any of us do. But it does seem like, the rumors about his future seem to are gathering forces. Is it soccer? What is it? Is it going back to business? What is it? So, I think that comes from something.
Before you came on earlier, I went on a little rant about Juan Soto, and because it just drove me nuts. Everybody's like, oh, 400 something million. He could be worth $500 million. And I kept going, I get it. He walks a lot. He's got some power. He's not a great outfielder. Doesn't have a ton of speed. But this whole generational player, let's put him in Cooperstown now, and he's worth $500 million. I was like, I don't know what your return on investment for Juan Soto is. And everybody told me I was an idiot. Well, things change in life. Expectations change. And you go to San Diego, and I'm looking at the numbers. 35 games in San Diego. He's hitting .202. He's got a 694 OPS, and the only reason why it's 694 is because he's got some walks in there. He is just not hitting. Went 0 for 4 last night as they were shut out again, and he declined, walked out. That crazy press in San Diego. When you got Kevin Acee from the San Diego Union Tribune breathing down your neck. He's just 3 for 48 in his last 15 games, on and on and on. And I thought about with you, one thing when we don't have a metric for expectations and pressure. And when you're traded into a situation like this, now the weight of the world is on you. You've turned down all this money. The fan base, they're selling out. They're going nuts. You're expected to get a home run every single time at bat. When you look at expectations and pressures, is that something that you could be looking at, why the numbers for Juan Soto are really horrific?
I have actually studied this a little bit, and the reason I studied it is Chris Davis with the K when he came over to the A's. He was a guy that had a pretty good sense of the zone. When he first came to the A's, he was swinging at everything. And so, I looked into it, and players that change teams do usually swing more often, chase balls more often when they enter the new team. Jay Bruce did it when he went to the Mets. There's a whole bunch of people that have done this. And so that to me is the effect. I call it pressing. Gallo, goes to New York, starts chasing in a way that he had never before. That's pressing. What's funny about Soto? He's pressing, but for Soto, pressing means not swinging at all. You know what I mean? It's pressing. I think it is pressing.
Crazy. It's crazy.
It's the lowest swing rate of his career by far. For his career, he has a 37% swing rate. He's been around 40%. Right now, he's at 32%. So he's just stopped swinging. And, I think that it's obstinate, and it's probably good in writ large. It's like a good way to press. It's better than swinging at everything. But selective aggression is better, and he's going to have to do something, because I've watched a lot of these at bats, and what's happening is he's a high ball hitter. with really great patience. So he's just going to wait you out. He thinks that you can't consistently hit the bottom of the zone. And what's happening right now is pitchers are hitting the bottom of the zone. So really, to get out of this, he needs to show pitchers he can do something at the bottom of the zone, right? He needs to get aggressive and start doing something with pitches at the bottom of the zone too. So, I think he does need to do something. I think you're right to point out some of his flaws. The guys that have signed the biggest contracts so far, Tatis, Trout, and Betts, they all do everything. You know what I mean? They do defense, they base run, they get on base, they hit for power, they do everything. Soto does have some flaws. You're right to point that out. He may not get the 500. He may get something that's just short of Betts or just around Betts. He'll get a lot of money because of those walks, though, because just a guy that, because his baseline is he's just usually better, like 20 or 30% better than league average, and then he does get streaky, and then he's white hot. So the Padres are just hoping that he finds that and gets white hot right now. But to have a baseline when you're always at least 20 or 30% better than league average, like, it's a very steady hitter. It's the kind of guy you want year in and year out.
Well, the question, and it's not for now, we'll do this later on, will be, how does San Diego end up? Do they not make the postseason? Do they make the postseason? Do they go on a run? We'll see all of that. And if it stays like this, they're going to have to pay Tatis. I mean, they're going to have to pay that. You got Machado making $300. What do you do with Soto? Do you move him now? Do you move him next year? So it'll be interesting to see, because I don't know. If you're saying he's going to get $500 million, I doubt they're going to be able to afford that. So that will be something that's
we
really
haven't seen like 200-300. You haven't even seen 200-300 million guys on the same team, right? So I don't think this was a move made that they were going to sign him long term. I think basically, if you think about pressure on executives and how things go, there's been some good days in San Diego. There's not a lot to show for it yet, and so you got to, if you are AJ Preller, feel a little bit of the hot seat. I mean, they had one of the biggest collapses of all time, and just last year they haven't made the playoffs under him. He's traded away everybody, so there's nobody in the minor leagues anymore. So this is it. He was like, I want Soto for 2.5 years because that's all I got. That's how I read it. If he has to trade Soto, how do you sell to your owner? Now I got to trade Soto and rebuild. You got to give me another rebuild. It would be the third one, right? Because remember, he came in and traded everybody for Kimbrel and Upton and all those guys, right? So that was like, okay, I'm with a splash. Then he rebuilt. He got this one. If he's rebuilding again, I guess it would be a second rebuild. You don't usually get a second rebuild.
No, I agree. And we'll talk more about this as we hit the postseason.
That's why you saw John Daniels go in Texas. He had a rebuild. They spent a bunch of money. It was time to move on.
And how about, speaking of that, how about everybody who was coming to town? And I'm not going to mention names. They're friends of the program, but they were all sold on, not a big deal that they spent $500 million and that they're losing, because they know in the offseason that's when they're going to go get pitching. And so like, everybody was cool with, hey, Marcus isn't playing well. Seager is what Seager is. He's not that great. He's going to have some solo home runs. Not good defensively, as he made his 17th error. So everybody was like on board with this message, and then boom, manager fired, John Daniels fired.
It's true. I like teams trying to get better. And they tried to get better, and they spent a lot, and it's fair. It's a fair critique. I mean, even when they did sign those guys, it was kind of weird to be like, oh, they signed all these guys and spent all this money. Who's pitching for them?
Somebody has to pitch, right? Isn't that part of the game?
Can Simeon pitch? Is he like Ohtani style now?
And by the way, that's something I think's interesting about the A's, is that we know you're going to need 10+ starters a year. I mean, basically everybody. You're not going the 5 to 7 guys. You're going to need a lot of guys. The A's have kind of collected a bunch of guys. If we have like a stable, like their horses for starters. They've collected, around 10 or so guys. And with the guys that are coming up from the trades who were injured in the past, I mean, the A's are going to have over 10 guys. It's going to be interesting, at least.
Yeah, I think the pressure is more on the hitting side. The pressure is on young hitters, to advance, to get better. And frankly, on ownership to put at least, that 20 or 30 million that's gone, to put that back on the table for Billy so that he can, I know you haven't loved the sort of $10 million deals they've done in the past, like the Billy Butler deals, but they need to do something like that because they need, a few more bats. I do agree that they put together a pretty good staff.
Should I still be trying to sell that $10 million Ben Sheets deal?
Oh, man.
I had to sell that, I had to sell that. I was like, this is great.
I had the transaction analysis at Fangraphs on the Billy Butler deal, and I tried to sell that one too.
All right, let's end on this. Dermis Garcia, the numbers, really interesting. Obviously a kid signed by the Yankees, $3.2 million in 14, and just time runs out, and you got to put him on the 40-man or make him a free agent. He's starting to hit at 24 years old with the A's. Is this a stock you'd be buying?
I really love the quality of contact, 17% barrel rate. He's hit the ball 111 miles an hour. So he's got power. I also like that he doesn't chase at the plate. He misses a lot though. So, if he's going to strike out 40% of the time, I'm not so sure. But if you can get that down to 35% or 33% even, that's doable in today's game. I mean, that used to be 30% used to be, wow, like that guy, Chris Carter struck out like 28%. Everyone said that's too much.
Yeah.
So, but if Garcia can strike out, that's what I'm waiting for to look for. The rest of the season, next season, I want to see a 33% strikeout rate, 32% strikeout rate. If he can do that, then he can be your sort of prototypical power and patience type slugger. And that's something they need, They got Brown, but they need another one.
Would Chris Carter be considered a contact hitter in today's baseball?
I gotta look back at this because I gotta make sure. Okay. He had a 33% career strikeout rate. But I think in today's game, there are plenty of guys with 33.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Great stuff. I mean, every week this is awesome. Field work is awesome. You're awesome. Yeah. Can't wait to go do a show from their brewery. I know we got to start working on that, but thank you this week. We appreciate it. I know your son's got a game later on, right?
That's right. He's on the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he's hitting 500. So
contact, power will come. Make some contact early.
That's right. That's right. Do you know how little command there is in Little League?
Just
walk after walk after walk. That's how I was like. When I work with him, I was like, throw strikes. Let's just throw it to the glove. Don't worry about the knuckle curve. He's like, I want another knuckle curve. I'm like, just throw it to the glove.
Oh yeah. You think Major League Baseball can be long? Little League Baseball.
Yes. But thanks so much. And to Field Work, listen for details on a watch party at their new San Leandro location, and we'll get the details locked down on that soon. And thanks again for having me.
Great stuff, buddy. We'll talk to you next week. Ray, play the sponsor. Here we go. Play on your way out, Here
The Star Show is sponsored by Fieldwork Brewing Company. With 8 taproom locations in Northern California, Fieldwork brings you fresh craft beer direct from the source. Fieldwork will also ship beer direct to your door if you live in California. Visit fieldworkbrewing.com.
Boom. Take care,
See you next week.
Coming up next, Jessica Kleinschmidt will join us right here on A's Cast Live.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com SportsCard.com.
Hey, Ace fans, we've got a great deal for you. Get 4 tickets and parking for all Friday night games starting at just $39. Pick from great matchups, post-game fireworks and drone shows, giveaways, and more.
Outside corner, ring him up. And Eaton can't believe it.
Grab the crew and head to the Coliseum with friends and family any Friday night this season. 4 tickets and parking starting at just $39 for the whole group. Tickets are available at athletics.com. That's athletics.com.
Innovation that's at the heart of Cal State East Bay. Like at our Green Biome Institute, where faculty and students map genes from California's endangered plants. Or how we open doors for local entrepreneurs at our Small Business Development Center. From educators to nurses to STEM professionals, Cal State East Bay has real impact throughout the region's neighborhoods, boardrooms, and entire economy. Be part of the innovation. Connect with Cal State East Bay at csueastbay.edu/impact.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflows, managing documents, and providing the best-in-class office technology. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. That's ubeo.com.
Hey Ace fans, check out Longport Fish Company, an exciting new chef-driven seafood restaurant located in the Veranda Shopping Center in Concord. Longport features the highest quality lobsters, oysters, king salmon, flavorful cioppino, and much, much more. It features a full bar of craft cocktails, local brews, and a curated wine list. Longport Fish Company is for all occasions too. Date night, business meetings, catching an A's game at the bar, or bringing the whole family. Check us out at longportfc.com, on Yelp, and on all social media.
Coming in at 5'3", it's number one mom. She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka. Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer, restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
Hey, A's fans, you know that running your own business is a slugfest every day. That's why businesses have been counting on Mechanics Bank since 1905. From operating lines of credit to equipment and real estate loans, they can help build your lineup to meet today's challenges and prepare for tomorrow's opportunities. Stop by your local branch or visit mechanicsbank.com today. Mechanics Bank, the official East Bay bank of the Oakland A's. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. All loans subject to program eligibility and credit approval.
Some things just go together. Peanut butter and jelly, cookies and milk, Oakland and Kaiser Permanente. If that last one caught you off guard, it shouldn't, because Kaiser Permanente has been helping keep Oakland healthy since our very beginning. And as the official healthcare partner of the Oakland A's, that won't be changing anytime soon. Whatever you may need, you can trust Kaiser Permanente to help keep you feeling your best. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive. Visit kp.org today.
Join the A's and celebrate the Bay. Your Oakland Athletics are back with post-game fireworks featuring the best hits of the Bay Area. Presented by Delta Dental on Friday, September 23rd. Tickets start at just $15 and are available at athletics.com.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Streaming from the East Bay, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
That's right, it is A's Cast Live from San Francisco. And it's going to be the Athletics up against the Astros today. Coming up at 5:10, we'll have A's Total Access for you at 4:10. Getting you ready for today's game. And who is going to be on A's Total Access is Jessica Kleinschmidt. Do we have her with us?
We sure do.
Hi,
in
guys.
all of her glory on video. Are you kidding me?
I know.
I mean,
I appreciate you giving me time to get pretty, Townie. I believe that's what you said over the phone. Enough time to get pretty.
do we have to pay you extra for the video part today?
Yeah, I'll send you an invoice.
Okay.
Yeah, just start saving because it's expensive.
Yes, I've heard. I've heard. When you start looking at today and you think Justin Verlander, I mean, just the dominance, the guy's going into the Hall of Fame. He'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Unless something strange happens, I got to think he's going to win his third Cy Young Award. So that basically gives him everything that you can do in this game. When you start talking about the greats, he's got 3 Cys. And coming back, I don't know how much we're going to see him today, but he has just owned the A's over the years.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because they're going into this very cautiously, they said, because of the fact that he's coming off of this calf injury. And he's so unique in the fact where he kind of threw like how Lance McCullers did last night, still throwing better as the frames go by. It's just something that you don't see from any pitcher, let alone a guy of his age. And we don't like to talk about age too much, of course, because I don't want to offend you at all, Townie. But I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool that he decided to come back another season, not just to come back to say that he could still play, but he's dominating as well. And I really appreciate that. And like you said, we don't know how much we're going to see of him tonight, but he even said, after this outing, this might not be, they may not have another regular season start for him. It really depends on this finicky type of injury. And when you do have a veteran like that, you have to be careful, but those numbers speak for themselves. You mentioned another Cy Young possibility, and I'm right there with you. A lot of good competition out there, of course, as well, but he also is veteran presence to know that he knows how to handle some of these injuries, and we might be seeing between him and McCullers the reason why the Astros do take it all, because we know how these guys can and handle the postseason as a veteran presence, but also just his durability is going to be something to watch. And we know how postseason Verlander is, specifically the A's. We remember how he was with Detroit, but this guy is just phenomenal. I don't know what other word to use to define him.
And how long he wants to go. I mean, he's, as I mentioned earlier with Eno, is that he's got that Tom Brady in him where he wants to play a long time, and he's going to need to if he's going to get to 300. And I was anti-Verlander for all these years. I'm not now. I'd like to see him get to 300 because he will be the last guy that we'll ever see do it.
And you mentioned that, I remember when people talking about Justin Verlander, we talk about that one joke saying, I'm old enough to remember when a guy went 9 innings. And that's something that we just don't see anymore. And not even that, Dusty Baker respects him enough to give him those 9 innings, obviously, if he's fully healthy and all of that. And I kind of appreciate the fact that he is going up against the A's. There's a little bit less pressure there because we know how the postseason's going to be for them. And it is the A's lineup. We're not really talking about super stellar guys who are going to be hitting bombs off of him, but we also know the A's can take advantage of a guy like that. They know that this guy can pitch well, and we're still coming off of an injury. And so he can utilize what he can do and to better himself to head into the postseason. And I love the fact that we get to watch that historic stuff and coming back from a season where we weren't even sure if he was going to retire quite yet. And you mentioned the fact that he can last all of those innings and do something that the old school baseball fan got to watch is just phenomenal to see.
Well, and you think about the way Houston's going right now, and with a win that they can get that first playoff spot onto winning the division and then getting the number 1 overall seed and getting that bye, which basically means the playoffs, as long as the Astros are in it, it goes through Houston. The depth that they have with starting and the depth they have in the bullpen, very impressive.
Yeah, and I think I don't want to say we're not thinking about the pitching too much when it comes to the postseason. I think this is very much the year of chicks dig the long ball. We're really watching what Aaron Judge is doing at the plate, and I think it's fantastic. But we also have to remember what the imperative aspects to a successful postseason team entail, and that has to do with pitching. And you mentioned the starters. That bullpen is fantastic, and you have to be able to lean on some of those guys, especially with if you look at how the trade deadline went. It was very much AJ Preller against the world, and the Astros didn't make a trillion splashes. Obviously, bringing Mancini on was fantastic, but the bullpen's always been very, very good, and that is very important as it comes to the postseason. So I think if those guys can stay healthy, and you do have those starters who can elongate their outings, and all of those together, wrapped in a bow, creates a very fantastic and scary team to deal with.
You've been around the Las Vegas Aviators a little bit lately, and I know a guy that I care about because, I've known him since he was a little kid, Jared Koenig. I got to put him in there. I've been talking about the stable of guys that the A's have that they're going to need next year. They're going to need, they're going to need a lot of starting pitching. We're not going to have a bunch of guys go 30 starts. So if you don't have a bunch of guys goes 30 starts, somebody's got to start these 162 games. So you're going to need a lot of these guys. Koenig could be one of these guys.
And you mentioned, I just talked to him when he was with Reno, and he struggled in the outing, and then I spoke to him, and it felt like his second outing that I watched kind of haunted him. And his issue was, despite his command being well enough for him as far as a pitcher goes, he wasn't going to his secondary pitches as much as he would have liked. And I think that that's what is going to separate him from being a guy going from AAA back to the bigs constantly to being an actual starter for the bigs. And he needs to know when to utilize his curveball. He said, I think he utilized his curveball once out of 30 something pitches. And he said, that's just uncalled for. He loves his changeup a lot. It's something that he's very confident in, his fourth best pitch, he told me. So I think he needs to have a little bit more of the veteran mindset to say, this is how I work some of these at bats. And we know in the PCL, these guys are going to be taking advantage of some of these. They're very aggressive, and they get you in your counts high very quickly. And he needs to know how to utilize some of those, and even to the point of utilizing his pitch counts and the pitch clock he's very used to. So I think that's going to definitely help him in the long run. But he definitely knows what he needs to work on. And even during his time coming out of the bullpen a little bit, getting that velocity up to 94 when he was with the A's, just for a little bit when we were trying to transition Adrian Martinez back into the starting lineup, that certainly helped him as well, because the velocity is never an issue. Seems like the command isn't quite an issue, but I will say those bats did figure him out rather quickly. And you need some of those crappy outings to kind of help and everything like that. So I really like his stuff. I think the hitters that he went up against were a little annoyed by him in the best way as it goes to develop the confidence for a starter like that. We know his body. I know you love him just as a local guy and all of that. And I personally do, just as a person. So I really hope that he gets his chance. And just the story in and of itself, he told me, when you're playing at the lowest aspect of the game, rookie ball, you can't get any lower than that. And he said, I trusted my stuff. I had the confidence, and I went in there knowing that I could play and pitch in the bigs, and he ended up doing it. So I don't think that some of these demotions, which I even feel weird calling them that, because we know how many opportunities, and that was the first word you told me heading into spring training that these guys are doing. So if they're taking these opportunities, call it a demotion if you want, but he's able to throw against some really tough bats in the PCL, because despite the fact that it is AAA, these guys are lighting him up. So that's still a good confidence boost for him. And I'm right there with you. I really hope he's a part of that rotation in 2023.
And I just wonder, when we talk about not getting the innings out of your starting pitchers, and you've kind of seen Zach Logue, they start putting him into this role. Caprillion got put in the bullpen for a brief moment. Koenig, it's like, do we have to start prepping that you're going to need relievers who are not one-inning guys? Because these bullpens right now, and the data is in, are shot. And for all these years, these bullpens would get saved by the September call-ups. Now we're not allowing you to bring up all these guys up from AAA. So maybe, just maybe, with these new rules, we start to see the changes. We can't option guys as much. We don't have the September call-ups. Well, maybe, just maybe, weapons in the bullpen are now going to be a guy. Okay, Koenig, maybe you're not a starter every 5 days in the big leagues, but we need you a couple days a week to go 2-3 innings out of the pen to save us and help us win games.
Yeah, and I think that stems from, like you said, a strong bullpen is always going to be good. I feel like over the last few seasons, we've been giving more respect to these bullpen guys, and that's like contractual agreements. That's the monetary value, the amount of the contracts these guys are given because we depend on the bullpen so much. And, you saw Austin Pruitt. That was one of the best starts of the season by any A's pitcher, and he was coming out of the bullpen to start as an opener. And I feel like that's something that has to be taken into account. Even Koenig told me, the prep is no different. It's a different mindset. You don't have as much time to yourself. And remember Chris Bassett did it back in the day, not too long ago that was a back in the day, not too long ago when there was an injury with Blake Trinan and he had to come out of the bullpen and close up for Liam Hendricks. And Liam turned into a phenomenal setup guy there for a little bit. So there's a lot of bits and pieces and that you can put these guys in. And even for an ego boost, some of these guys coming out of the bullpen, their velocity is just insane for those 1, 2, 3 innings. And that helps them from that perspective. And this is the season where they can experiment with that kind of stuff. As far as we know, obviously we're not in the playoff push at the moment. So we have all these things that we can utilize to our advantage. And that means that's beyond the bullpen. Like we have 3 or 4 starting catchers in the lineup and stuff like that. So it's definitely something from that. And I knowing that bullpen guys are elongating their outings is only going to make some of these starters better if they do have to flip to coming out of the bullpen.
Dermis Garcia, to me, is the story right now. Can he be this guy that delivers power on more of a consistent basis that we can be excited about heading into spring training next year? And we could say, all right, we got a first baseman for the future. Can he be that guy? We don't know, but I can tell you, if this is like first impression, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, you are your first impression when you introduce yourself, right? And I feel like what he's done is I actually got a text from a couple of fantasy baseball players who were asking me about him because they did see his numbers. And that's when like they can just utilize, they can see some of these bumps. They're like,
is this real?
Yeah, is this guy for real? And he is, from that perspective. And it's so hard right now. We are not, there are not a lot of Trey Turners in the world who have really phenomenal bat to ball skills. I even know Jonah Bride was a guy who was known for those bat to ball skills, but sometimes it shifts a little bit. And for Dermis, you're definitely seeing some consistency. And it's such a rare thing. Well, we haven't seen it in a while. I feel like, Chris Davis, when he was hot, was definitely one of those things that we can kind of get excited about. And Dermis is not only doing those bat to ball skills, he's being consistent with that and he's showing off power. And so I think it's not only if he wants to do it, but I think the A's fans really need a guy like that right now, just something to root for. I feel like when you're trying to describe to fans if there's anything positive about this season, we're going to talk about the Shea Langleirs. We're going to talk about the bullpen isn't all that bad. But the one thing that the casual fan needs is a guy like Dermis Garcia, who you just think of, okay, cool. He hits the ball hard, he hits it far, and he's doing it on a consistent basis. And I think if he evens out what he can do defensively, so that way we can have another guy, like even, a Sean Murphy, a day off to just DH for a little bit is great. But the numbers are certainly there. I know Eno was talking about some of those strikeout numbers, but over time, those are going to even themselves out. Every single guy is striking out a lot, especially in recent years. So he's not the guy that we only want, but we desperately need him right now. And I feel like that can be the ego boost that not only the A's need, but fans as well.
18 games left. So I want to know, are you going to sit here with these 18 games and enjoy the last of all these shifts and all these slow pitchers? I mean, Ray the Karate Kid, put some unbelievable numbers up. There have been more than 64,000 shifts this year.
Wow. First of all, I know this is like your favorite thing to talk about. The shifts thing, I'm the most nervous about, only from a perspective of the measurement that it's going to go into. I feel like that's going to have the most growing pains out of all of them. I feel like the pitch clock, people are going to suck up really quickly. But the shifting is something that I'm a little curious about. And I was even talking to Mark Kotze about it. And he is obviously has this hitter's mindset. And he says where some of these shifts could or couldn't occur. are going to be determinant on a lot of extra base hits. And I get that. That's kind of part of the MO that MLB wants to bring into account. But I also know, and you mentioned Ray coming up with those fabulous numbers, goes to show how imperative those numbers are to what a defensive capability is. And that's everything else. Like if a guy is just known for the shift process and how to like run it and everything like that, I understand that. But there's times where I get so fed up, like Nick Allen's already there. So like that kind of takes the fun out of it. Buster Posey not too long ago talked about Brandon Crawford and how it's just a treat to watch him dive for a ball. And he never got to do that because of the shift. And I know people like Joey Gallo are going to be very excited about it just from his perspective. But it also is kind of cool to watch a specific shift against the Matt Olsons of the world and everything like that. But then we get to see more of the Tony Kemp, defensive capabilities that he's been showing off this season. And of course, Nick Allen as well, who just has so much range on the ball. I know you were talking about aviators, Nate Mondu, who's short in stature, can cover a lot of ground. So we can watch him kind of tear up defensively over there in the mid infield. So that's going to be interesting to watch. But I will say,
so basically,
overall,
you just said we're getting our athleticism back in the infield.
100%. We get our
one of the
red
reasons
gems
we
back.
love the game. We love the game because it's like what the Dodgers did. Dodgers were really one of the first teams to shift on right-handed hitters because Justin Turner and Corey Seager aren't good defenders. So they limited the space that they had to defend because they don't have great range, so they shifted. We're getting rid of all that crap. So enjoy it. 18 games left.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I miss a really good web gem, and I understand like where it's coming from. The measurement is where it's going to be interesting to me. And I know that one for sure is going to have a lot of bumps in the road as far as getting used to it. Or even just me as a former mid infielder, I just remember like moving around a lot, like just naturally as a shortstop. I had to. I was like, I needed to stay focused and in tune. And I hope that doesn't mess with them because they could easily say, hey, I'm not shifting. I just have to move around a lot. I'm a very jumpy mid infielder. You know what I mean? So that's going to be kind of interesting to see as well.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks, Townie.
Well, actually, we got you tomorrow and Sunday.
Yeah, I'm actually going to annoy you guys even more. Thank you for having me.
Don't go anywhere. You're working. See ya. Jessica Kleinschmidt here on A's Cast Live. That's it. 18 games left. Putting our shortstop in right field. No more. Putting your third baseman. Third baseman comes up, all of a sudden 2 strikes happen. Third baseman, not worried about a bunt anymore, now goes to second base. No more. None of that. Awful for the game. Do hitters have tendencies? Yes. And what did people say? What was their answers? What was their answer? Well, just beat the shift. Why don't you just beat the shift? Okay, I'm a human being. This is what I do. This is what I do well. You now want me to change my game completely and hit weak ground balls the other side so I can get these idiots to stop shifting. That was the only answer. I can't try and hit for power anymore. I can't try and drive the baseball anymore. I just got to hit a bunt, hit a ground ball to the left side. Yay. Now, you wouldn't want that in other sports because a lot of you are 49er fans and you're Raider fans, right? Would you want Jerry Rice not to play the way Jerry Rice plays? No. You want Jerry Rice to be Jerry Rice. So what did the NFL do over time? They stopped allowing cornerbacks to jack up wide receivers to keep them from being able to do what they do. It's what we're doing. We're changing the rules to make the game better. So I can be a left-handed hitter and hit a ground ball and not be out every time. This whole argument of, well, why don't you just change the way you do it? Well, I understand that. But now we all want our power hitters hitting weak ground balls to shortstop? That's what we want? That's what's going to be entertaining? Guys left-handed hitters hit some lasers that are just routine outs that will be back to being base hits. Because we're now going to tell the defense what you can and cannot do. Everybody, you know it, I know it. Anybody that's ever played this game and got a hitting lesson, you're told to have an up-the-middle approach. Well, they took that away by having an infielder there. Smoke a ball up the middle, you're out. Well, now that's back to being a base hit. The pitcher not pitching in the middle of the strike zone, which allows you to really square it up and hit it back up the middle. Can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be glorious. And everybody, like Jessica just did, you mentioned like Joey Gallo. No, man, it's going to help the little guy. We shift on the little guys. Ray had it in the playbook, 64,000 shifts. Everybody's getting shifted. I could be dog you-know-what hitter, and you shift on me. It's not like they just shift on the best guys. They shift on everybody. Everybody. So this is going to make everybody better because it's going to open up the entire infield. It's better for everybody. That's what's not talked about enough. We're too focused. Yes, we're in the business of trying to get you as interested as possible to watch, listen. So we talk about the stars. How does this affect the stars, right? I went to a wide receiver. I immediately went to the greatest wide receiver of all time to make my point. But really where this helps is the non-star players, which, oh, by the way, you want to go through our lineup? Tell me the star that we have in here tonight. Tony Kemp, Viamal Machine, Sean Murphy, Seth Brown, Ramon Laureano, Dermis Garcia, Jonah Bride, Shea Langoliers, Nick Allen. Is anybody putting a plaque in Cooperstown for anybody on that list? So whenever I listen to my man Brian Kinney on MLB Now, and he's bitching about this, he's always going, well, Paul Goldschmidt, and then Aaron Judge, and then he's bringing up the best players in the game. I get it. It's television. The best players sell. That's what we want to hear. How does it affect Trout? How does it affect Ohtani? How does it affect Judge, Goldschmidt, Betts, you name it? I would say Soto, but he doesn't swing. This is going to affect the regular dude more than anybody else. This is going to affect a Jonah Bride, a Shea Langoliers, a Nick Allen. They shift on Nick Allen. Nick Allen. They shift on everybody. Ray and I could come out of retirement and they'd shift on us. And we could just say, my God, I hope I make contact and I can see it. They'd still shift on us. They shift just to shift. I mean, one of the reasons, this is also something they don't talk about. They pay a lot of money for the data. These teams have been spending money on this data. Teams pay for data. Now, if you're the Yankees and you have your own data team that you pay for, you don't pay somebody else for numbers. But it's a dirty little secret in baseball. You think it's Mark Kotz? But you think it's you think these small market teams that they have just these number crunchers like it was Moneyball? No. You have these firms that come up with data. They've been paying for that and implementing that. They might pay somebody to take the data, read the data, and implement the data. So they've invested in this. We're taking it away from them. Their money, all this money that they've spent on this, whether it's, I doubt it's a considerable amount compared to what we play some players who stink. But yeah, they've invested time and money in this, and we're just taking it away from them. They hate it. Front offices hate it. They're addicted to this. They love the shifts because they know how much they work. So we're going to make this game back to being watchable. Once again, front offices and coaching staffs don't care about the entertainment part of the game. What they care about is winning, and that's what we want them to do. But in the meantime, the commissioner and people like me got to talk about, wait a minute, we're still the entertainment business. We still got to have fun, right? It's fun. It's a game. We got to have fun with it. And watching four guys on the right side of an infield and watching a really good left-handed hitter who's great at pulling the baseball, just being out after out after out. And then your answer to that is, we'll just hit a weak ground ball to the left side. Is that really what you want to see? I want to see a guy grip it and rip it and be able to get base hits to the right side and hit the ball out of the ballpark. Watch the batting average next year. Ooh, go up. The next 3 years, you're going to see batting averages go back up. You're going to see balls put in play. You're going to see less strikeouts. You're going to see less walks. You're going to see more entertainment. And less pitchers getting on the mound, huffing and puffing, and I'm going to blow your house down, and I'm going to hold the ball for 26 seconds, and I'm going to regroup, and then I'm going to get there, and I'm going to blow your house down again. No, Jack, you got to throw it in 15 seconds. Let's go. The pace of play is going to be amazing. Are there going to be some hiccups? Maybe. I don't care. It's going to be better for the game. Everybody, David Force, our GM, told you, A's fans. He went to Lansing and Midland, loved it. Loved it. And admitted, we should get that cut, and admitted when he came back, this was hard to watch. Our GM, part of the Moneyball system, loves what he saw in the minor leagues with the pitch clock. Loves it. He even said, because he's watching games in his booth, he's watching our minor league teams while watching our team. It's just like, we're like watching paint dry. You wait. Ratings will go up. Attendance will go up. It's going to be gradual, but we'll make it fun again. What's wrong with fun? Let's make it fun. That's what we're going to do. Coming up next, the Mark Kotze Show right here on A's Cast Live.
Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into local Bay Area charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
Hey, A's fans, we've got a great deal for you. Get 4 tickets and parking for all Friday night games starting at just $39. Pick from great matchups, post-game fireworks and drone shows, giveaways, and more.
Outside corner, ring him up. And Eaton can't believe it.
Grab the crew and head to the Coliseum with friends and family any Friday night this season. 4 tickets and parking starting at just $39 for the whole group. Tickets are available at athletics.com. That's athletics.com.
The Eno Sarah Show is sponsored by Fieldwork Brewing Company. With 8 taproom locations in Northern California, Fieldwork brings you fresh craft beer direct from the source. Fieldwork will also ship beer direct to your door if you live in California. Visit fieldworkbrewing.com.
Humanity has accomplished a whole lot so far. We created penicillin, the automobile, and the internet, not to mention drones, duct tape, and the hot dog. It's all thanks to the power of human connections. And Ring Central's here to make that even easier, more seamlessly and securely, on a platform built to grow your business. Say hello to a whole new way to say hello. Visit ringcentral.com and say hello to possibilities. Ring Central. Message, video, phone, together.
Coming in at 5'3", it's #1 mom. She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka! Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer, restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
A's fans, there is no better way to stay in touch with the A's and even our players than following us on social media. Just head over to athletics.com/social. That's athletics.com/social for a full list of our social coverage, from player accounts to Twitter handles and more. Now is the time to stay in touch. Head over to athletics.com/social. That's athletics.com/social today.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is a national brand with family-owned prices and service. You can shop at one of their Barrier locations, and all stores are sanitized and safe, or you can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you'll get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Some things just go together. Peanut butter and jelly, cookies and milk, Oakland and Kaiser Permanente. If that last one caught you off guard, it shouldn't, because Kaiser Permanente has been helping keep Oakland healthy since our very beginning. And as the official healthcare partner of the Oakland A's, that won't be changing anytime soon. Whatever you may need, you can trust Kaiser Permanente to help keep you feeling your best. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive. Visit kp.org today.
Hey, A's fans, you know that running your own business is a slugfest every day. That's why businesses have been counting on Mechanics Bank since 1905. From operating lines of credit to equipment and real estate loans, they can help build your lineup to meet today's challenges and prepare for tomorrow's opportunities. Stop by your local branch or visit mechanicsbank.com today. Mechanics Bank, the official East Bay bank of the Oakland A's. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. All loans subject to program eligibility and credit approval.
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
Time now for the Martin Kotze Show here on A's Cast Live, and it's brought to you by Nest Bedding. Love where you sleep. Check out their location in the Bay Area, Albany and Berkeley, or you go online for all your bedding needs. Go to nestbedding.com for your mattress, your sheets, your pillows. Use the coupon code Oakland to get 10% off your entire order. That's nestbedding.com. Well, I'm sure, Kotz, you're missing your nest bedding right now. Your nest bed as you're on the road there in Houston.
Yeah, Tony, we're here in Houston. It's obviously a little bit warm, but I don't know if do we still have a heat wave in California? I haven't looked at the weather.
No, it's back. I mean, I was at the Coliseum yesterday. It was overcast. It was in the 60s. It was back to normal.
Perfect. Can't wait to get back to Oakland.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Dermis Garcia. Should I be this excited? I mean, because I'm watching him right now, Kotz, and I got to tell you, I'm really excited. I want him in the lineup every day. He's 24 years old. Sometimes it takes a little while, then guys come into their own, but he looks like he can just flat out swing it.
Yeah. For Dermis, he is actually taking advantage of his opportunity, no questions. I could kind of dive into the history of, and why don't we? Why don't we dive into the history of Latin players? They get signed at 16 years old. They come to the States, and without most of them any real formal education, most of them haven't learned the English language, and they get thrown into our culture pretty quickly. And with the expectation, not only that they should know our language and understand what we want them to do, but perform, right? And so it always seems to take longer for Latin players to assimilate to the big leagues and have success. And I think that, we kind of identify those players and build this expectation level because, whether it be signing bonus, because, the projectability of these players is so high, their physicality to a certain extent. And we expect them to be like the Americans, where you draft them and in 2 or 3 years, they get to the big leagues and they have success because, you allocate them a portion of the signing bonus that can be large at times, and for Dermis, I think he fits that category. The Yankees signed him. He was a high round pick for the Yankees, or not pick, but high sign internationally with some good money. And it's taken him 6 years to develop. And in that time frame, the Yankees decided that they wouldn't put him on the 40-man, so now he becomes a free agent at 24 years old. So we were the fortunate benefit of that situation. But still, he's, like you said, he's 24 years old. It's his first time in the big leagues. You can see what the Yankees saw in him in terms of tools, in terms of size, physicality, impacting the baseball. And now it's really, our job to continue to coach him, to continue to make adjustments with him. We saw him last night in his last at bat get beat by a fastball that's 97, 98 plus, right? There's a little length to the swing. But he's doing a phenomenal job at taking some pretty good quality at bats, laying off a slider. The slider's a tough pitch. You're going to swing and miss at it as a right-handed hitter. We saw that last night with what McCullers was able to do in terms of, throwing the slider, throwing the breaking ball, and commanding it. So, but there's a lot to be excited about, Dermis, and we are as well. It's good to hear that you are also.
Well, as you mentioned, the rules are, thank God for a player like Garcia, because he would just stay in a minor league system forever. And the fact that you can only be there for so long, and if you don't get, like you said, put on the 40-man, you become a free agent and you can go somewhere else and have a different opportunity, like with the A's, to then now live out your dream to get to the big leagues. I mean, thank God for that rule, or some of these guys would just stay in minor league baseball forever.
No, you're right. And, I think Major League Baseball has done a good job. I think they've even shortened the time frame for college draft picks that are, signed and drafted and then given 3 years, I believe, before they actually can become eligible to go somewhere else. I think that's the timeline. I just know that for a fact that they've shortened that timeline. It used to be an extended period of time that they had to stay with an organization. So they've done a good job at creating a market for these guys that might not necessarily, get an opportunity in the organization they're drafted by, for sure.
Well, and as you mentioned with him, I mean, you come here, it's a different country, a different language. I remember saying to guys when we were in Japan, can you imagine if we were just dropped off in Japan and said, go ahead, survive, see how that works for you? It would be, I mean, oh my God, I can't imagine. And now to be at 24 and as a man, start to be really comfortable in your skin and who you are and what you want and what you want to achieve. It seems like to me, listening to the story from you, this is kind of like the perfect time for him.
Yeah, it really is. I think the maturity process, age-wise, being here in this country, being more comfortable with our culture, there's a lot of things that align for success now that he's gone through this experience, and I think that's to be said for a lot of Latin players. That finally get comfortable, in our culture, in this environment, and can relax to a certain extent and know what the expectation level is and know what they need to do. And I always think it's important that we have a support system for them up and down the organization, which I tried to facilitate this spring training with adding, some translators and just some staff that they can use as resources.
How good is he defensively at first base?
He started as a third baseman, so he's got some ability. We haven't seen him make a ton of plays over there. He's made the plays he needs to make. I think he's still got work to do around the bag to become above average, and we're going to continually work on that with him. And you may end up seeing him even in left field. There's some athleticism and some speed. He runs the bases pretty good. So, he hasn't been in the outfield at all. And that may end up being an off-season project for him.
When I think about all the young players and all the rookies that you've had up, especially at this time of the year, how important is it for them to see the big league lifestyle, to get on the plane and the hotels and the travel, to kind of give them that nibble of the carrot to inspire them in the off season so they can take the big bite out of the carrot next year?
Yeah, the amenities are nice, but the lifestyle, it can be challenging at times as well. And, being on the road continually, being away from your family and friends, the grind that this game can have on you, from a mentality or a mental standpoint, lack of success. You go back to an empty hotel room. Those nights are long and they wear on you. The support system isn't necessarily there for you on the road. Getting on a plane and landing at 2:30 a.m. and getting to a hotel at 3 and then having a day game. There's a lot of things that we could dive into, but you're in the big leagues, and yes, getting a taste of it is important. I'll share that I talked to our minor league guys that are instructional league this morning, and talked about their opportunities. Talked about taking advantage of the time that they have there in the 3 weeks with the instructors we have, with the resources that are in front of them. Talked about, like Nick Allen, who was probably in instructional league 4 years ago, and now he's a major league shortstop, and he's worked his way here, and he's getting a taste of what it is to be a big leaguer. Like we talked about, all those amenities along with, hey, go have success and go hit Justin Verlander tonight. So, connecting with the minor league players as well, to giving them that vision and path and letting them know the expectation level of what it takes to get here. That's all part of it.
How amazing is it tonight that you will be facing Justin Verlander, still throwing like Justin Verlander at 39 years old?
I got to be honest, I want to beat Justin Verlander probably more than anybody based on the 2006 playoffs.
Scratch golfer.
2006 playoffs is all I have in my mind, Tony. I think it was rookie year and he blew us away. And, so every time he takes him out, I just have this vision of him pitching against us in 06. And, but he's one of the best, and you got to give him credit for what he's done in his career, the length of the career, the accolades. Pretty damn good.
For you in your first year, I'm sure a lot of people don't check in with you. Everybody, you got to make sure everybody's doing okay, and you got to handle your staff. You got to handle your players. You were talking to minor leaguers. Does anybody ever sit back and say, "Cots, how are you doing?"
Yeah, actually they do, which is great. I do have a good support system. I appreciate you asking, Townie. It's still, we've got, I think, 18 games left, and this. I mean, you could see it. I'm here to win today. I'm here to go out and prepare to win a game, and the excitement of these 18 games it's still there. It's still there. We're going to continue to grind. We're going to continue to go out and coach these guys through the finish line. But that's not where my job stops. And as I talked about earlier, connecting with the instructional league guys, I won't get to be there physically, but it was important for me to connect with them, to let them know that hey, you may think you're far away from this, but you're not. And at the same time, always know I'm watching. I get all the reports. I go over them. I'm connected to you guys, even though I'm not there physically. And that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about the day the season ends to prepare for next year. And that starts with those minor league guys. It starts with connecting with our staff. So you can see where my mind's at. But yeah, I do have a good support group. Billy and David have been great with me, in this first year, knowing that there was going to be some growing pains and things, knowing how competitive I am as a person. And so, and then I have a family that is amazing, that's behind me, that checks in with me every day, which makes things a little bit easier for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's a lot going on. There's a lot you're in control of. It's almost kind of, you have to manage yourself as much as you have to manage everybody else. Because as you said, these losses, you're going back to hotel room at night. You're thinking of all the different things you could have done. You're thinking about all the things you need to do tomorrow. Is there ever a time where you have to I got to unplug a little bit just for myself?
Yeah, I call that mindless TV. When I get back there and I know the wheels are spinning, and like last night, did we make the right pitches in the 7th inning? Did we didn't execute? Was it the right pitch? You just keep grinding. You're like, all right, I got it. You know what? Game's over. Let's move on. Let's go watch some mindless TV, whatever Netflix show comes on, or whatever Discovery Channel has. And you just kind of lock in and yeah, kind of let the mind wander for sure.
Great stuff as always. Enjoy the next 3 games in Houston. And when you come back, I guarantee it won't be as hot in Oakland.
Outstanding. Thanks, Tony. Thanks for having me, bud.
Yeah, great stuff. And that's where I'll put it on me that I got to be a little more sensitive at times. You know, we do 3 different shows a day, right? We do this talk show, A's Cast Live. We then do A's Total Access, brought to you by Chevron, which is a pregame show, get you hyped up. And then you got a postgame show, which is callers, and it's breaking it down. And in a year like this, when you're 52 and 92, there's going to be a lot of negativity. There's negativity even good years because you want to win every single game. So we do 3 shows, and all 3 shows are different shows. And I understand that what matters for where we want to go is the future. That's what matters. But for Mark Kotze, and this is where I need to be sensitive, I mean, he's the leader of these men. This is his job, is what's going on right now. I can sit here as some bozo in a studio in San Francisco and say, it doesn't matter. But to them, it means everything. To me, I can tell you right now, I want to know how Dermis does tonight against Bertlander. Right? You're facing best of the best. Let's see how this kid. I mean, I'm starting to. I want to know if I need to put my time and energy into this guy. Is this something that, you know, the A's have been really good at doing what? Picking diamonds in the rough. Picking guys that have had a little bit of big league time, but never really given a shot, or finding guys that they have the ability to get to the big leagues. They just need opportunity. That's where they have been excellent, finding guys like a Brandon Moss. We've been excellent at that kind of stuff. And Dermis kind of fits under that, right? Here's a guy that was paid $3.2 million by the Yankees. It's a lot of money. And just he runs out of time, and it's either, hey, you got to put me on the 40-man or I'm a free agent. Well, you're not good enough to be on our 40-man. Now he's a free agent. Here come the A's going, well, we like you. If you can just figure out how to get this guy to make contact, the ball goes out of the ballpark. He drives it all around the yard. It's can he make that contact? And if he can, he could be here a long time and be that first baseman that the A's really need. I'm not saying you're replacing Matt Olson with him, but I mean, you could replace some of the numbers at a very cheap price. And I hope someday I never have to talk like this again, but this is still who we are. If you get somebody like Dermis who comes in and puts up a lot of numbers, it eases the pain. Which I'm hoping he can be. I mean, we need offense. The A's need offense. I don't know if this is a shock to anybody, but we need offense. And maybe Dermis is one of those guys. And then you go, wow. Then you get, well, what if Langoliers can be legit? What if Murphy stays around? Now I'm giving you, maybe Seth Brown at 30 years old, the light goes on. Maybe left shifting for him. We'll see his batting average go up. He's got power. His numbers, by the way. Because you were asking me, Ray. Ray, weren't you asking me, the Karate Kid? You were asking me, what's Seth Brown's numbers lately?
I believe I was.
Seth Brown in September is hitting .319, 5 home runs, 8 RBIs. His last 9 games, though, he's got 7 extra base hits with a .343 average. That puts him at a 1,224 OPS. Do you like that? Do you like, Ray, how he's finishing?
I do. We've seen a lot from Seth this year at times, and his power, it's been a little up and down, streaky, but when he is connecting, man, it is leaving the park in a hurry.
He's got the ability, and you got flexibility with him. And I would like to not have him at first base. Put him out in right field. You play right field. I mean, you start to kind of see it, right? If Pache could just hit a little bit. You got Pache out in center. You got Brown in right. You got Garcia at first. Nick Allen, I'm not expecting much offensively. Give me something defensively. Then you start saying, okay, Sean Murphy, going to have to find a place for Langoliers. All right. Maybe Geloff is okay. His arm's not, he's got arm issues, whatever it is. Put him at second base. You can start piecing together some type of lineup that hopefully could be respectable, and you're built on pitching and defense. And you just got a bunch of guys that can get outs. That's what you need. Now, David Forrest didn't want to go there with me where I said, are we going to get to a point where we have positionless staffs to where you don't even think of yourself as a starter? You're just a guy leading off the game. You got to go get 3 innings, and he gets 3 innings. Now, if you know me, I think it's a awful way to go because it just takes 1 or 2 guys to have an off night and you're sunk. But, well, it's what we're seeing. It's where it's going. I mean, you're not going to be getting a lot out of your starters, so somebody has to pitch. And instead of having all these different guys, if you could really have 2 guys carry the load to your best bat bullpen guy or best 2 bullpen guys, if you can have 2 guys give me a solid 7 innings. However you want to break it up. You go 4, you go 3, you go 5, you go 2, however you want to do it. That might be the way. But the A's got to have a lot of pitching. And a lot of these teams. Take a team who has the best record in baseball now. You may not be following this. I don't blame you. But the Dodgers right now at their lower levels, their starting pitchers never go more than 3 innings. What are they preparing? They got to be preparing for something. There has to be, and maybe, something in the offseason, maybe something at the winter meetings when we're down there. Really investigate, what are you doing? Because some of these kids you took out of college, they're throwing 7 to 9 innings a game. Now you're telling them once every 5 days they only get 2-3 innings? What's the method? What's the method to your madness? I want to know. But there's something going on there. And that could be the future. I'll have to adapt. I'll be Clint Eastwood, get off my lawn, which I've found a great GIF that I send out to everybody with Clint on it. Get off my lawn. But that's the way it's going. So bringing up Jared Koenig, Sam Mold, by the way, going on the IL with the shoulder, and Koenig comes up. That's where a guy, Koenig, guy, you got to get me 3 innings tonight out of the bullpen. James Caprillion, you're really good for 4. You're going 4. Koenig, you go 3, and that leads us to whoever will be closing games out. That could be what's next. And if that's what's next, well, you got to have a bunch of guys to do that. And the A's might have that ability. They got a lot of pitchers. But the hitting, and that's why Dermis is the one that I'm looking at going. I mean, I'm looking at all these numbers. So all kinds of numbers you get, and he's the one guy I'm looking at going, I'm crossing my fingers, because if he's not the guy, what are we talking about going into spring training with next year offensively? Because these numbers on the players we got now, they're not great. And somebody's got to hit. The name of the game, no matter how you like watching the game, no matter how much I can tell you the game is going to change and become more pleasing to watch offensively, pitch clock will do that. As we're seeing in the minor leagues, there's less strikeouts, less walks. Batting average goes up, but you still got to have the guys that can play at this level. Like the Houston Astros, their numbers are going to be great. Dodgers going to be great. I think Aaron Judge, pitch clock or no pitch clock, is going to hit home runs. Our guys that are here now, I have no idea. No idea. And we'll keep tabs on this whole Mets thing. Sandy Alderson, who was recently just here for Dave Stewart's ceremony to retire his jersey. Sandy is truly one of the great executives of all time. Friend of the program, Sandy Alderson. Great guy. Winner. But at some point, it's time to hang him up. And New York's an interesting job because it is a win-now job. You don't get a lot of these. A lot of these jobs are team failed, executive manager fired, dumpster fire. You've got to come in and create an organization. You've got to create a whole new plan to get this thing back on track. That's not the case here. You got Buck Showalter, who is one of the really bright minds as a manager in building a roster. You're now joining this thing. Now, I don't know if that's compatible with Billy Beane. But they want to make a splash. Beane's a splash. Beane can go in there, and he's not going to be. Beane is past being an everyday grinding GM guy. He's not doing that. He's the head, and he'll bring someone in under him to do the day-to-day work. That's what David Force is. David Force is the general manager of the Oakland Athletics. He handles the day-to-day operations of the business. Billy oversees it, but David's the one that does it every day. David's the boss. Everybody deals with David. David consults with Billy. That's what Billy would just be doing what he's doing for the A's, he would do for the Mets. But with an owner who wants to win and wants to win yesterday. And if the Mets collapse, and if the Mets don't, let's say the Mets don't win the East. Let me bring in Ray. Ray is a Mets fan. How are you going to feel if the Mets, who have been in control of the East, I think, since April 12th, how would you feel?
Let's say disappointed and leave it at that. I think anything else would be too colorful for air.
There you have it. So you might be taking over a situation. There's money. There's quality players. Need some tweaking. That's not a hard project. That's far different than like stripping the Baltimore Orioles down to nothing and building them back up with years of losing in the draft and all that kind of stuff. Billy's not into that. Billy Beane is not that. It'll be sad. I mean, Billy won't be here forever. But the minute he's not here, it will be sad. But we'll root for him. Been a good friend, been a good ally for me for many, many years. And if I could become a Mets fan with you, Ray. I do have a Mr. Met hat that a buddy got me from Citi Field. I can bust out maybe a Piazza jersey or a Seaver jersey, maybe a Strawberry or Dwight Gooden jersey. Hang that up in my office.
We'll see. My DeGrom jersey might become obsolete next season.
Well, God knows it only goes 5 innings anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, point made.
Shots fired.
Yeah, but you're not wrong though. Like the Mets they're in a little bit of a panic mode, and I can't blame them. They do only have a game lead up on the Braves entering play tonight. And
and remember what everybody said. Oh, they got a weak schedule. Don't worry about it down the stretch. How's that playing out?
Yeah, I'm just happy we beat the Pirates last night. Sorry, Commander Cody.
Oof. Commander Cody sending me some pictures from Iceland. Iceland looks beautiful. Now the question is, why is he sending me stuff on his honeymoon?
He was sending me stuff too. So like I'm like, dude, play with the glaciers. Like that seal looks friendly, you know.
Didn't he say? Oh man, he has chin out. He's like, I won't get self service. I won't get self service. I'm out of here. Man, he isn't big. He was everywhere he went. It took him like they had to stop at like 4 places before they actually landed in Iceland. He had all these layovers. He's texting me, sending me Twitter stuff. I mean, he's on his honeymoon. I guarantee he's worried about this show right now on his honeymoon.
Odds are you might be right, but we got to get you out of here.
Oh, that's right. By the way, I'm off to. I will be. I got to do radio. I got radio and TV. We're double dipping today. Because why? I'm a team player. NBC needs help. I'm here for them. But I'm also here for you. Thank you for listening to A's Cast Live. We want to thank everybody who was involved today. The great Karate Kid, Ray. We couldn't do it without you. You've been outstanding with all the stuff we've thrown at you and the craziness that is A's Cast Live. We want to thank Eno Saris, brought to us by Fieldwork Brewery. And we want to thank Jessica Kleinschmidt. And we want to thank our manager, Mark Kotze. The Mark Kotze Show brought to you by nestbetting.com. Thank you for listening. Up next, it's A's Baseball. What are you going to play? Are you just going to play spots or you got something else?
We'll just play some spots. So listen to these great messages from our sponsors while we lead you up to A's Total Access.
Support our sponsors. We'll be back on Monday. When are we back on Monday? Oh, we have a day off. We're back on Tuesday.
Yep.
Back at home on Tuesday from the field. It will be awesome. A's Baseball coming up next right here on A's Cast.
Better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping